Update 2021. Where did the strange once saved, always saved doctrine originate? Finally, I have 3 different sources that are available for reading. This is also supported by many articles on the internet. All confirm once saved, always saved began with Augustine of Hippo, who is previously a Manichaean Gnostic, believing in predeterminism, which he calls predestination. Source number 1. This is a book written by David Pawson called Once Saved, Always Saved with a question mark. David Pawson comes against once saved, always saved. He writes this doctrine began with Augustine. He was a Manichaean Gnostic. He introduced the concept that salvation is all God's doing. Man can do nothing right. God alone chooses who will be saved or not. He predestines everything, ignoring 1 Timothy 2:4. He was criticized for this rigid predestination ideas, which is actually predeterminism. It would not be unfair to say, quote, that out of this matrix, once saved, always saved was born. Augustinianism was the major outlook of the church in the Middle Ages, perpetuated by the reformers. Once saved, always saved has had a continuous following, though not unchallenged, for 1500 years. Source number 2. This is a good book, The Foundation of Augustinian Calvinism by Ken Wilson. This gives us more information that Augustine was a Stoic, Neoplatonist, and a Manichaean Gnostic. These 3 philosophies believed in a fatalistic God which unilaterally predetermined the eternal destiny of man. Man has no free will to choose salvation. He is born with original sin inherited from Adam, and babies had to be baptized or be damned. And God arbitrarily chose unilaterally who would be saved or not. Augustine stood against the early church against free will. Quote, Augustine was the inventor of the 5 points of tulip, Calvinism, page 110. Total depravity, unconditional election, limited atonement, irresistible grace, and perseverance of the saints. Once saved, always saved. Source number 3. This book comes from David Berceau. Will the real heretics please stand up? This source summarizes and confirms the Gnostics took hold of the Roman Catholic Church, and some of these doctrines carried forth into the Protestant Church. It confirms Augustine taught tulip. It also adds Augustine taught Mary was born sinless. Unbaptized infants are eternally damned. Sex inside of marriage is inherently debased. War can be holy, which is just war. Amillennialism, contradicting Revelation 20. Number 6, there is no forgiveness outside the Catholic Church. Number 7, some teachings of the apostles no longer apply. Number 8, there is purgatorial fire. Number 9, the dead can benefit from the sacrifice of the Eucharist. Number 10, it's proper for a Christian state to persecute heretics. The Reformers took up Augustinian doctrine of tulip, including amillennialism, just war, and absolute predestination, while eliminating other practices such as relics, purgatory, and forced celibacy for clergy. Sadly, David Berceau writes, many of our evangelical doctrines on salvation are nearly identical to the teaching of the Gnostics. All 3 sources warn once saved, always saved is serious departure from the apostolic faith and what the very early church of the first 300 years taught before Constantine. Once saved, always saved is Gnostic heresy. Avoid all Reformed denominations. Calvinism is heresy.